Hey there, hi there, aho there. What's up?
What up?
It's our paranormal world with Monica. And
Yeah.
oh, I'm pointing the right way. It's Breezy. Always point the wrong way. Gotta remember it's opposite of what I'm seeing. It's me, I'm Breezy. Easy breezy.
Yes, ma'am.
We're gonna get into a fight because I like Green Day, and apparently that is absolutely not acceptable.
Yeah, nah. Okay, so I back in the day, like when Green Day came out, I was totally um against Green Day. I was like, forget Green Day said there was this one chick who used to hang out at my house. So like
Mhm.
this is the circuit day 94, maybe 95, if that. So, like, we had like this whole little backyard setup where we'd all hang out, smoke, and drink and chill. The young kids, the parents wouldn't care, they'd do their thing. And there's this one chick, and I had my whole stereo system outside on my porch because it was covered. And she'd always, every time like I went inside or I went to go go take a leak over at the corner of the yard or whatever, she would put Green Day Dookie in, and I would instantly, as soon as I came back, I would eject the CD and chunk it out into the yard because I was like, no Green Day.
Absolutely not.
But right. But now that I'm, old, right, and the times have changed, and I reminisce on the old school stuff. Like now, I appreciate it. Now I like it. Now I can jam it just because it's strictly my kid's getting murdered in there.
I can't hear anything.
Dude, that sounded like blood curdling.
Do you need to go
You
check
must
and
have
make sure that like Leatherface didn't break in or something?
Nah, that's probably Jen. She hasn't eaten yet, so she's hangry.
Um,
She's probably like, get to bed. Yeah. but so now I can dig it. Now whenever it comes on, like I'll put on like 90s grunge or rock or whatever, on like Pandora,
mhm.
and it comes on, I'm like, all right, I'll give it that. But
See, my
back
brother still
then,
won't listen to it. Yeah, my brother couldn't stick, but he knew Billy Joel and Billy Joe. I said
and
Billy
Billy Joel.
Joel. I don't know why I said that. He knew he knew Mr. Armstrong. Anyway, he didn't like him. He apparently was a complete jackass, like
Yeah.
my brother and his
That'll
friends.
ruin it for you too. Yeah, that'll ruin it for you too. Meaning
Like you
meaning
know him before they get big, and you're like,
yeah, never meet your heroes. And yeah, that's true. That's true. But so yeah, I'll give you half points on it. But I was like I was like Rage Against the Machine and 9 Inch Nails.
oh yeah, hell
Yeah,
yeah, Nine Inch Nails.
I
I do
love
like Nine
Rage.
Inch Nails, but I mean, I listen to like Smashing Pumpkins, and I was big into
Mhm.
Smashing Pumpkins, like Zero. I still like, they're all over my playlist, and Red Hot Chili Peppers, they're all over my
Oh,
playlist too.
yeah. Red Hot
Like
Chili
the
Peppers.
Other Side, the song Other Side was one of my
Mhm.
favorite songs, man. When that first came out, I remember I was in Chicago for a weekend visiting a friend of mine, and we were driving through downtown, and I just remember driving along the waterfront and going into downtown, and Other Side was playing. So every time I hear it, I think of
That
that.
was Californication. That was Californication, right?
I think so.
Wasn't that album? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And even their new stuff, they just recently came out with some new stuff like a year or two ago.
Hmm.
It jammed. It doesn't sound like Red Hot Chili Peppers. One of the songs to me sounds a lot like The Doors, but like Hyacinth House and like rare B sides of The Doors.
Right.
Um,
That's
but
cool.
yeah, I was like digging it because I didn't even think it was. I didn't know it was them when I heard it, and
See,
I
I'm at the
listened
age
to
where
it.
I'm like stuck in my time warp. I've got like my eras, like my generational
Right.
music, and I'm like, I mean, I'll listen to new stuff, but for the most part, it's like good old trusted late '80s to mid 90s, because the 90s in general, I just hated the music. You know, like Lifehouse and that kind of, I was just like, what? Like,
yeah.
I just remember like listening to music on the way, because I worked in Houston, right? I was living north of Houston, but I was working in Houston, and I would drive home with the radio on, because it's, you know, pre-iPod days. And I'm just thinking, man, we got to get through whatever this music thing is. We gotta like push through to the other side quick.
Yeah,
like we need something new.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I was the same way, because I just got on, you know, my old CDs, and, you know, I stayed that way stuck. And then a few years back, like probably 4 years back, someone told me that 101X restarted, you know, and I don't know if y'all remember 101X, the radio station, but it was the alternate radio station.
Yeah.
They played Nirvana and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, I'll give these cats a go, you know, let's see what happens. And sure enough, they were playing like great alternative music. And I was like, but it was modern. And so I was like having to learn, like, I'm like, put on the glasses. Oh, that's who those guys are. Okay.
And that's something
that was like
on you too, right? Is the old glasses. Like, I fought against wearing reading. I mean, I'm lucky in that I don't need them for just like every day, like driving down the road or just like doing work, right? But if I'm reading, or if I'm reading my stupid phone, especially, or books or whatever, gotta have the gosh darn reading glasses on.
Yeah. Dude, funny story about it. It is quick, so I'm not like gonna hog your time or nothing, but funny story about my glasses. So I never wore glasses up until about 2 years ago. And I was closing in on, I was like, man, it was like, I want to say June or July. And I knew that I had to get my driver's license renewed. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I'm never going to pass a freaking,
vision test.
Vision test. Right. Because when I was at work, when I worked corporate, my last forklift, you have to take a vision test. And they're like, and the nurse was nice, you know, she was sweet on me. So she's like, that's not a C, that's a, and I'm all D, you know. So I barely passed, you know. She basically helped me cheat. And so I went and paid like $600 freaking dollars, got glasses, and I'm like getting used to it. A week later, I get ID'd somewhere randomly. And I pull out my ID and I'm like, yeah, here you go. And I was like, wait a minute. And I look at it and I'm like, dude, I didn't have to get glasses for another year because my eyes are so bad. I thought that it was a year ahead. So I was like, what? It's not till next year. Take it. I don't even want to live anymore. And now I wear glasses. Because we grew up in the Four Eyes making fun of people with glasses. So, I mean,
that's
as horrible as it was.
I didn't really ever make fun of anybody, but I just remember thinking, like, those frames are hideous. Like, I don't want to have to wear them. And like the big, like, if you've seen Stranger Things, remember the first season, her friend that gets like taken to the upside down in the pool. What's her name?
I forgot her name, but I know.
Totally forget. You know what I'm talking about, though. Like those big, like Peggy Hill glasses.
Mm-hmm.
That was the selection. It was various like types of Peggy Hill glasses.
Yeah, the Saving Private Ryan.
Dahmer glasses. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, that's my story with glasses, and now it's weird. It's like I said last time we were talking. It unlocked my chameleon eyeball thing. So now I can move one eyeball and one cocks in. I'm like, ow. Like literally hurts my temple. I'm like, oh, that sucked.
It was Barbara, her friend Barbara.
Yeah. Stretched a tendon in my eyeball.
See, I can do that. I can like make one eye like do its own thing.
Yeah.
but not for long. But yeah, so you got the old chameleon eye thing.
It's unlocked, but it still hurts. I guess it's like doing the splits for the first time accidentally. But Jin's the same way. Jin can keep one there and go, like literally.
See, I can't like look ahead and make my other. I have to like cross my eyes, and then the other one will like.
And then move it.
It'll stay crossed, and the other one will start wandering around.
Yeah, that's what mine's been doing, because I've been noticing like I'll take a selfie or something, and I'm like, ow, what the hell is that? And I like look at the selfie, and I'm all, I'm like, dude, no.
At least you can erase it now with the digital thing. It's not like back in the day when we had to like wait a week to get the film processed, and we're like, well, that moment's gone.
Burn this negative.
So tonight's show is going to be all over the place like we do. And it's going to last as long as we feel like talking. You know, we'll try to stretch it out an hour. Sometimes we go to, sometimes I'm like, 45 minutes is good. But tonight's show, jinxes, hexes, curses, and all the other fun little things. Right? And then
absolutely,
you're going to talk about the
I was going to go into the spell of spelling and the curse of cursings, because it's like it catches into all that, you know, same kind of trope. But man, I was looking for freaking ever. I tore up my living room. I tore up my closet in here in the studio, and I had a whole notebook on it that I've used for other shows and stuff. And when I first started studying it, I can't freaking find it for the life of me. So y'all are, you know, I'm just gonna wing it. And y'all just.
But that's what we do here. We wing it. I wing it. I'm winging it.
But it was good because there was this one whole. It's like a whole paragraph. And you can say the whole paragraph, and it sounds like a normal paragraph. And then if you actually like cut it down, it's like really freaking. It's like almost like a spell. It's like really, really weird. And
really?
Yeah. And I'll try to find it continuation tomorrow. So if I can find that one paragraph, because it's really crazy. Like you really could go blah 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 blah. Oh well, if I say it like this, like. Kind of like I don't know if people have heard the new ABC song, how they changed it up to where it's not A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Oh, really?
Like yeah, they got a new one, and it sounds really freaking weird because they stop it at certain intervals. So it'd be like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, you know, and they don't do like element okay. They do like L, M, N, O. Yeah. So But so yeah, if you read the sentence, it just or a paragraph sounds like a normal paragraph, and then if you stop it at certain words, it's like devious and devastating. Like it's like a curse.
Oh, that's interesting.
Freaking crazy, yeah.
So that's I mean, they were okay. So back in the day when I first started this stuff, there were like talismans that you could make for protection, right? You'd write these certain words and phrases on copper and keep it on you. And one was abracadabra. And as you spell it, right, and you shorten it, it spells abracadabra in every direction. And then there was another one that was, gosh, and I haven't done it in so long. It was like, I want to say 4 words. And when you wrote it like one on top of the other, in every direction, it spelled the same 4 words. It was. Ooh. I'll find that and show it to you. Like, I'll find that and share it. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought, you know. But the hard thing is you have to like hammer that into copper, engrave it into copper, and a little copper piece, and stick it in your pocket for protection.
Huh. So it's like a talisman / That's cool.
Like, you know, like the evil eye stones, or, you know, a lot of, you'll see the evil eye bracelets that, you know, protects you from from the evil eye.
But it has letters. It has letters or
Yeah,
numerology.
they're words.
So,
Yeah.
but it's in English.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, so it's our alphabet. Now, are the words English? No, they're not English words. They're
But it is in English alphabet.
yeah. Where the which one is it? It's the forget what our alphabet is. Slipping my mind right now, but yeah. So yeah, it's in what we use, our alphabet. It's not in hieroglyphics.
Right, or Latin or anything like that.
Well, the words might be Latin, but yeah, it's in.
But it's okay.
You get where I'm going with that.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to start with, all right, let's start with jinxes, because I know that's on our title. So the jinx. So a jinx is, something you can do intentionally, but you can also do it unintentionally. All right. You can just have just strong feelings about something, and you can jinx somebody without meaning to. And that happens quite a bit. It's like one annoying coworker. Mine left recently. It makes me so happy. But anyway, you have one, annoying coworker or annoying person in your life, and, they just rub on you to where you're just like, every time you hear their voice, you're like, oh man, this person. And I wish they would just shut up. And they end up coming down with like laryngitis or something. That's, either intentional, where you're going through a system to make that happen, or, unintentionally, you're shutting them up. Right. That's what I would call a jinx. They're usually like pretty harmless, and they're usually meant to bring about bad luck, ill health, not like terminally ill health, like just an inconvenience.
Right.
And they're pretty short lived. Like they typically, like when you've got an intention, if you're doing it intentionally, it goes in there like with the, I wish they'd be quiet. It goes in there, does the job. They got laryngitis, done. It dissipates, over with. There's no more to it, right?
Gotcha.
And it's easy, like I said before, to like accidentally jinx somebody through your thoughts, right? Because we're all vibrating. And if you've just got a real strong feeling about this person, then you can unintentionally jinx somebody. And then the hexing, that's intentional. Yeah. So hexing is 100% intentional. You're going to make this person's life very inconvenient, and it will involve tools. And by tools, I mean like you could have a poppet with some pins in it. Like a poppet, for people that don't know, is like you could call it like a voodoo doll, right? It's a effigy of this person. And that would be a tool. The pins would be a tool. You can do candle magic, burn the right ones with the incense and stuff, and really kind of, try to do that. I don't agree with any of this stuff. I just happened to see like this meme about it, and I thought that it would be interesting to talk about, because I think a lot of people don't understand the difference between them. Like what you put out in the world is 100% going to come back on you. Right. And there's a saying, like, that it comes back in threes. So if you're putting some negative energy out there, towards somebody who slighted you, whatever your reason is, just know that, karma's going to take care of them. If you're trying to help karma along, that's one thing. Now, if you were going out of your way to do some nasty stuff's going to come back and happen to you. Let me just start by saying that a little bit. So, again, like a hex is more like an inconvenience. It's typically timed, like it's given a length of time. Like you want to like get this person out of your hair for the, 3 months. Like, let's give it 3 months. I want this to be, your intentions. You're wanting to get it done within a certain time frame. It does have a specific end point, right? It's not going off into oblivion. Like you just want this person away from you, like, and you're trying to get them away. And then once it's completed, the time has come for it to end. It ends again. Like you don't have to go in. You don't have to do
right.
Like
it runs its
cycle kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
cycle.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of similar to a jinx. It's just like it's heavier, right? And
And
then
intentional. Right.
yeah, and definitely intentional. Like where a jinx, you can actually, kind of not mean to do that. Hex, you mean to do that. You mean to do whatever it is you're doing. And then curses, I think it's pretty clear like what a curse would be, right? That is absolutely intentional. And you know, with a real curse, like a true curse, you're meaning to bring some harm on somebody. You're meaning to cause them like more than a little bit of inconvenience. You're meaning like an illness. You're meaning like some serious heavy stuff. Like just like the hex, it's going to use tools. It's going to be probably a lot more tools and a lot more time put into that. And it can last short term, but commonly it's like it's ongoing. It can be generational, right? And like if somebody wronged I mean, we've seen it all in the movies, right? Like somebody's great grandpa PO'd the village witch, and like every generation's got progressively worse with it.
Yeah, like
lineage.
Holes is a good example. Yeah,
right.
Or like thinner. Thinner.
Yeah, like thinner. That's a curse. Yeah. That is 100% a curse. And Drag Me to Hell. They were cursed.
Oh yeah, Drag Me to Hell. That was a curse.
That's a curse.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. So that's like, I mean, not that I would want to do any of this like to anybody, but like that's some serious heavy karmic stuff coming back on you. Like if you're going out of your way to do this kind of thing. But people do it. Which is crazy to me. Yeah. And I don't know, like I just couldn't imagine like putting that kind of vibration out there, knowing that it's going to be coming back on me, Yeah. And it's crazy to me that people are willing to like do it for pay or trade or something, because like that's even worse.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you're doing it for barterism or any type of pay or payment form, then you either don't know enough about it to know that it's not worth the tangible loot that you're going to get, or B, you're already screwed, so it might as well enjoy it. You're mean while you're here.
I had one guy reach out to me on one of my accounts like a long time ago, and he was like, I think I might be cursed. I think that I don't know what's going on, and I didn't know if he was jinxed, hexed, or cursed, right? And he was like, I've got this feeling, and it goes away and comes back, and I mean that's a sign of like you're cursed. Like I can't break that. Like I don't know what to do. I mean, if I really like dug into it, I probably could figure it out. But I was like, I don't know if it really is a curse, if it really is like a hex. But I mean, he was having like nightmares, and he was like getting sick and then getting better. And then he had anxiety start because of all of it. And I remember, giving him like ingredients and instructions to go like just do like a cleansing on himself, because it had worked for me, because I had a string of, I don't think I was cursed. I think I was definitely hexed, but I had a string of like just bad luck, just terrible luck, which is indicative of jinxes and curses and hexes. And I ended up having to do like this cleansing bath, like this, like concentrate and like focus on getting this off of me. And then things started to like slowly turn around. Thank God. But I mean, there was like 6 months, almost a year that went on where it was just like one bad thing after another, and there is some psychology to that. I think like if you are going down, like, like you're having bad things and you're conscientious of these bad things happening, like every inconvenience is suddenly like, oh, that's even more. Yeah. It's just, it's easy to like spiral down that psychologically as well. Yeah. So you need to be like, if you're feeling like that, you need to be conscientious of, your thoughts up here, because that does, your vibrations and what you're thinking does have a lot to do with like your overall health and well-being. And I think a lot of people don't understand that.
Right. No, I agree. To me, it's like kind of like, I don't know why it reminded me of it, but kind of like that, the rule of three when it comes to actors and musicians and stuff. It's like when one dies, there's like two more that's gonna, but if you really like break down the average of how many, thousands of actors and actresses that we know and musicians that we know, and then you go, well, yeah, it's like kind of an average. It doesn't necessarily have to be a superstitious thing, but yeah, every couple months you're gonna have at least three of them that are on the tier that are taken. So, but if you really look at it too hardcore, like psychologically, then you turn into a, dude, no, this is gonna be two more. And it's like, well, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you notice a pattern, I mean, it's easy to spot patterns, right? And if you're looking for it, if you get that in your head, there's going to be two more, you're going to be looking for it, right? Just like,
right.
And I still tell people, like, I think a lot of, not a lot, but I would say a good chunk of witchcraft is spicy psychology, right?
Yeah.
Like you get into somebody's head, you can do a lot of damage without like doing like any kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, without any voodoo or magic.
Yeah, without any, accoutrement or whatever. Yeah,
right.
You get into somebody's head, that'll do a lot more damage, like in faster. Like it's a self-fulfilling prophecies, right? You get in there and you have them thinking that something's going to happen. Like you can roll up on somebody and be like,
yeah. And then they're looking for it everywhere.
I curse you to whatever. And every time you cross the street, a bird's going to poop on you or something, or just, I wish you ill luck or whatever. I mean, you can keep it pretty generic. And every time something bad happens, if the person is predisposed, they could say like, oh, whatever, I don't believe in that stuff. But like, trust me, like bad things happen to people every day. Like inconveniences happen every day.
Yeah.
But if you put it in their mind and they're thinking about it, that first inconvenience, they're going to be like, And then the second one, they're going to think, oh. And then the third one, they're going to think, oh, maybe she really did do that. Maybe that really did happen.
Yeah.
And then they start spiraling down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, and invite that low vibration. Dude, it's funny that you say the bird poop one. Today, so at work, I literally park underneath a billboard, and today I came out and my car was cut. I mean, front to back, dude, like horrifically covered in, looked like it got buckshot. Like,
oh man,
yeah. I went and picked Jen up. She was like, "Babe, your car," and I was like, "Yeah, I guess it was one of those days."
So I worked at this when I was working in this corporate office in North Dallas. It was summertime. Everybody wants to park under the trees, right? Everybody, because it's shade.
Yeah,
exactly. Park in the blazing sun. So I park under this tree, and just like you, just bird droppings, and it was like they were eating some berries. It was so and it was so bad that I was like, you gotta, like, I can't drive home. It was like you couldn't see out the windshield. It was bad. And I was like,
exactly.
But I'm looking around like, is there anybody else's car this happened to? Like, why mine?
For real. I was like, what are y'all eating? It's not even white anymore.
Exactly. It's like pink, dude. Like, you need to get you into a vet stat. But anyway. I went to go because it had dried, it's the summer. It had dried onto my windshield. And I was like, this is like, it wasn't coming off. And I was like, okay, well, I had like an old Coke in my car. And I was like, I heard like if you pour the Coke on it and it'll eat away and it'll go away faster, right? So stupid Monica. I didn't think this through. I didn't think it. And to be fair, it was the end of a very long day. I was like one of the only people still in the office. Thank God. I would have died if everybody saw this happen. So I'm pouring the Coke on there, and I've got my driver's side door open, and like an idiot, I turned the windshield wiper on. table. I'm pouring the Coke, standing up, and all of that came flying back onto me. I got covered in Coke and bird droppings, and that was
nice.
That was not fun. That was not fun.
See, that day you were either jinxed or maybe even hexed.
Yeah, I jinxed myself by not thinking it through.
You jinxed yourself. Jinx Coke, you know me. Yeah, Jinx Coke, you know me.
Silly Monica, you're supposed to stay in the car. So that's my quick, fast and dirty breakdown of those things. But again, like, I do think that a fair chunk of like spell casting is like spicy psychology. I really do.
I mean, I think I already know the answer because I know you pretty well. But just for the audience's allure, so if you got all these different, from around the world, these different, whether it's pagan or Wiccan or voodoo, or that all have these same spell castings and jinxes and curses and hexes and the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you? I know this one. I'm just doing it for the entertainment purposes only. Where do you think that originally stems from, and how does it grow into the different religions and different sects of people who get into that casting of spells?
Like, where does it all stem from? That's a good question.
Yeah, where does it all stem?
What about that? I mean, because when I started looking into it, it started with like just one book, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I bought a book about like how like witchcraft had grown through Ireland and all that. Like I was doing a little history and studying on that. And early pagans and where that started, like the Druids, right? I think, yeah, Druidic. I think that it all came from that, but it's got to be earlier than that even, and I couldn't even begin to explain it, to be honest with you. I know that as it grows and more people become interested in it, then it breaks off and breaks off and breaks off, right? There's a lot of people are like, oh, I do Wicca or I do this paganism, but then there's all these other like little things, like, there's a big Christian like world, but then there's like Lutheran and, all these other things that are mixed in there, like, that are still Christian. It's the same thing. Just like there's Wiccan, which is not like everything, right? And then from there, there's a hedge witch, there's an eclectic witch, there's a like a hedge witch, like the kitchen witch. There's like all these different things that like break down from there, which is that's pretty cool. But like from beginnings, I haven't really looked that far back, but we can do that. I can dive into that.
Just off the top of my head, because I would think of everything as, I am very spiritual, but also I'm a very logical individual. So with every action, there's equal and opposite reaction. So there's definitely two sides to every coin. There's negative energy, a positive energy. Mm-hmm. I guess, so I know where it comes from. It comes from the negative energy of spiritualism, right? But my big question, I guess, to my own self, and I think I know the answer, but I hate to be the person to be like, I know exactly what that is, and really have no clue. Is it who actually brought it to our knowledge? You know what I mean? Like who went, okay, negative energy, positive energy, negative frequencies, positive frequencies. Mm-hmm. This is what you need. This is what you do. Okay, these stones, right? Who taught all that? And then I go back to like thought, like ancient Egyptian, Sumerian, and it's like that's the the teacher of, smelting metal and making weapons, and
Okay.
teaching mankind war, or depending on which, so I think it's like, and then you're talking frequency also, right? So when you're talking frequency, you're also talking ways for interdimensional beings to phase into our reality, right? So because they have to use frequency to portal in,
Mm-hmm. And the right combination of stones and
yeah, exactly. Like quartz is good, this is bad,
mm-hmm.
to school us on, but that's where I go with it. I mean, but I think that would be a pretty dope one for both of us to actually do a little bit of homework on. We could do like a whole show on, as far back as it goes from mankind learning, alchemy, and because it had to be given to us somehow. We didn't just wake up one day. Because if you look at mankind as just a straight up natural being, like almost like an animal,
right?
Your only thing from the time that you wake up to the time that you go to bed is find food.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's literally it. I find food, mate, prosper, whatever. That comes second and third and fourth and fifth. But food is it.
Yeah.
Food, water. So why would you even go, you know what? I bet that oak tree has some energy,
Right.
Yeah, you wouldn't even, so it has to be.
There's a wood nymph in there.
Yeah. Unless you ate the wrong mushroom that you found on the ground.
Well, I mean, okay, so yeah, that was a big part of it, like back in the day. And I mean, and you go into some tribes still, like down in South America, right? And drinking stuff that is hallucinogens are part of like the ritual for whatever, insert thing here. In
our world,
listen, you're not far off with the, they ate the wrong mushroom one day or they licked the wrong frog.
Right. Yeah. And who came up with licking frogs? I wouldn't know.
Like, maybe it's edible. I don't know.
Yeah, be like, dude, check it out. Oh, what are you doing that for? I don't know.
It reminds me of the Simpsons cartoon where they're licking. I think it was Simpsons, and then their eyes get like different stuff.
But like that was, but in every culture, that's also, a part of the thing. An herb or a plant or a spore that's grown from the ground that takes us to a spiritual connection with, our surroundings and, all that.
I mean, so, you go to like Delphi, right? The Oracle of Delphi. And I was watching, I don't know, the History Channel or something. And I really didn't look any further into it. I'm just retelling what I saw on the History Channel. There were some archaeologists looking into it. And, there are these vapors that were coming out from it was volcanic, right? From the cracks. And they were sticking this poor girl up there and getting her high as hell off these vapors, probably cutting her lifespan mighty short in the process. But, she was 100% hallucinating from those things, giving, the predictions.
Yeah, she was huffing glue.
Yeah, essentially. Like on my job site today, they were putting epoxy walls up, and I walked in. I said, "What is happening here? Open some doors. I smell solvents. Open some doors." And then, I was there for 45 minutes and left with a headache.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Especially when I was a kid, not to stray off, but yeah, we did that. We worked with paint thinner and freaking all, and then before you know, you're like, man, I don't feel so great. Like, well, yeah, you've been in a warehouse, freaking with a bunch of acetone,
I don't know what, because man, I don't know what they were doing today. They're putting wall panels up or something, and the glue. I was like, listen, we put that whole back wall up, and it didn't smell like that in here. What are we doing today? It was a whole new cruise. So somebody asked, like, what about incidents like picking up a rock from the Bell Witch Cave causing problems? Or, like the one that everybody knows, you take volcanic rock off the Hawaiian Islands and then,
Right.
the goddess like curses you.
Yeah. I got mine, but ladies first as always. So
yeah, I mean, again, I think a lot of that is probably spicy psychology. I do. And I think that, they don't want you coming and taking like a pebble or volcanic rock. There would be no island left if all the tourists left with pieces. So I don't know how far back that stretches. And then the Bell Witch thing, I hadn't heard that. But that's interesting. That taking a rock from the Bell Witch Cave would cause issues. But I would attribute things like that to maybe somebody's guilty conscience, and then some crappy things happen, and they're like, oh, well, what's different here? Well, I'm already feeling maybe subconsciously a little guilty for swiping the rock, and then you're steamrolling that in your head to, oh, that must be what it is, and then those stories start to spread.
Yeah, you get home, your car breaks down, and you're like, oh, it's already starting.
Yeah. I don't think the Bell Witch was in her cave like, anybody that touches the rocks in here, cursing on you. Leave my rocks alone.
No, I agree. I agree completely. But I also have a feeling that if it's, been preyed on or whatever, like it's sacred land, or
that's
if it's
different.
Sacred burial site, then like anybody who disturbs this burial, because that's where we're back at.
Like the Egyptian curse, right? Like there's all these curses, like don't do that, like you're gonna like death comes on swift wings, not rings.
Yep. Wings. Rings. What are you, Sonic the Hedgehog?
Right. But I mean, they did, but it was black mold. It was mold. I don't think the pharaohs set it up for mold to be like the killer there. I think they legit thought like, something was going to
they were
around and like get you. But
then again, you can't rule out that the I guess the spiritual or paranormal side could use the black mold as the tool.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's a stretch. But yeah, I mean, and then also like that gets also into people's faith being hierarchies. Like if people go, oh, well, I'm protected from Wiccans because my God is greater than, and then
if that's what they believe, then that's awesome. Yeah. Again.
Yeah, I think that's a psychological thing because
100%.
Yeah, because you're
putting energy into it,
right? And you're putting out all possibilities that could be what affects you, because of your spiritual belief. I mean, I do think that kind of magic works in the world, absolutely 100%. But I don't think it's as common as people play it out to be. Like if you carry a St. Christopher on your car, that's the reason why you haven't gotten into a car wreck.
But if you believe it is, right,
then it can manifest itself.
You're manifesting it, right? So I do believe, like, you put a lot of faith into something, whatever it is, you can. It might not manifest the way you think it's going to manifest. Just like the old saying, don't ask like the universe for generic things, because it's going to come to you in ways you're like, well, I guess that actually did come true. It's just not the way I thought it was going to happen. Like, like Wishmaster, you got to be like as detailed as possible.
Right. Yeah.
Spelling that out, because if you're just like, I want to be rich.
Yeah,
I want a lot of
exactly.
money. You're going to be working. You're going to get a great job. I mean, it's not going to money's not going to fall into your lap. You're probably not going to win the lottery, but you might get job advancements, right? You might get, a really great opportunity for investment. I mean, it might be things like that.
Yeah.
If you're not like just super specific. Which, I mean,
right.
at the end of the day, you're getting the money, so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know, it could be like, you know, on that end would be, you know, the I guess the calm end, and then like on the other hand, you got like the monkey's paw, where oh yeah, you're gonna get money, but it's because you know your wife passes away and you get the insurance.
Well, exactly. I mean, yeah, I was using like more positive things, but yeah, 100%.
Right, yeah,
like that's the same thing. You know, like thinking about the movie Wishmaster, right? The guy's like, I want $1 million. And his grandmother's getting on an airplane and they're like, ma'am, would you like to take an insurance policy out for this flight? She's like, oh, well, why not? You know, and then the plane. that,
dude,
I mean,
my
very
favorite
negative. That's the kind of thing, right? You got to be specific.
My favorite on the Wishmasters, where he's, I think it's like part 3, but he's like, I want my lawyer to go F himself.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember that one.
Dude, yeah, it's great. Like his whole back, dude, the lawyer comes in, he's like,
I think I do remember that actually. But
yeah.
Oh, I loved Wishmaster. I like the first one, but the guy's voice, right?
Yeah. I got his autograph back here somewhere.
Oh, really? That's so
cool. Yeah. But yeah, I love the first Wishmaster. It was great. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's cool. I was just talking about his cool, creepy voice.
Yeah. No, he was cool, man. And I'm sorry to get off on it, but the first Rumpelstiltskin, I think it was the same actor, if I'm not mistaken. But
I don't think I saw that.
Really? You gotta check it out. This is great. It's just like Wishmaster, but yeah.
But I mean, you know, like we get deep into those fairy tales. Like, let's say, you know, my life is a fairy tale, but it was written by German authors. Like, it's the old Grimm fairy tales, like the original Grimm fairy tales. Those did not end well, typically.
No,
like, not at all. Not at all.
No, even the original Cinderella, it was freaking horrific. Like, whenever the girls were trying to,
for like mutilating their feet to try to fit into their shoes, and then didn't they like put the stepmother in like hot iron shoes and make her like dance till she keeled over and no longer breathed?
And even the origin of her name, because they called her Cinderella because she didn't have a bed, so they made her sleep in front of the fireplace. So cinders would actually jump out of the fireplace onto her clothing and catch her on fire at night. So she'd be like constantly putting fires out, you know, on her dress every night. That's why she was Cinderella.
I think it was because she was cleaning the hearth and she got ash all over. That was my little sweet mind. It's just because she's dirty from ashes.
Oh, it's just the ash. But yeah. So on the spell of spelling and the curses of cursing is basically kind of like the same gist that we're talking about, but it's so. I'm just going off of memory here, guys, so don't persecute me. So the basic gist of it is that whenever you put curses or spells together, you're actually putting certain ingredients and certain pieces together. So that's actually the symbology of it. So like if you use an S, that's like a snake, right? Okay. If you use a Y, that's a pathway. So you can take certain letters that go into a word like system. Like, so a system would be a snake driving into the direction of another snake, leading you to, I forgot what the E represents, but I have all this down. But like the E represents
like door 1, 2, and 3.
Like door 1, 2, and 3. And then the M is the same as the E, but it just drops you down into a different level of downwardism. So you're caught in a system that snakes you around to a decision that snakes you around to another decision that puts you in a negative decision. Yeah.
I got you. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty tripped out. And then there's this whole thing about like spelling bees and getting, man, I wish I would have found that freaking thing, because there's a whole thing about like hive mindset and how spelling bees put you into a hive mindset for for like educational so educational programming. So like you have educational programming, television programming. So it's actually programs that program you to believe the world is a certain way it is. You know, kind of like MK Ultra type stuff. You know, so you get into how our literature and literally the things that we say every day. There's even one on literally too that comes out as composite of truth.
Literally.
But, yeah, literally. Yeah. Because it's like, I forgot how it goes, so don't quote me on it, but it's like literature is your only, like, what you read is your only path to what's real, literally. You know,
okay.
That kind of stuff. But yeah, it gets really interesting as far as, you know, the way that the human mind can be, you know, programmed into a lot of stuff like that by the hierarchies or whoever puts us in the system. I mean, and you can think about it like, and this gets into more conspiracy than spiritual, but the way that our prison systems and our school systems are lined up like completely. Like think of a prison cafeteria and think of a school cafeteria. Think of, you know, a prison rec yard. Think of a school rec yard. Think of the hallways. You know, you got concrete blocks with doors on each side. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a programming of us from when we're young to be in the system, to learn the words that we learn, to use them the way we do, to spell, and then like cursive, right? Or cursing, F you, F this, F that, right? Is you're cursing your own ish, you know, the whole way. And it's symbols that are tied together that keep going. They're not broken up like in spelling.
So there's energy going throughout.
Right. Yeah. It's a never ending energy. So I guess that could be like almost a difference between like a jinx or a hex and a curse. You know what I mean? So like if you consider it that way, you know. But yeah, it's and I think, you know, like I honestly sub to the fact that, you know, if this gets back into our secret societies thing, if there is these ancient societies that are trying to control and manipulate us into becoming subservient slaves that are just used strictly for their purpose to wake up, go to sleep, you know, and that's what they teach you in school, you know, wake up in the morning, spend 8 hours, you know, go home, go to bed and repeat. That way, when you turn an adult, it's nothing new. And you're like, oh yeah, this is just how the world.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Programmed. Yeah. So yeah, you know.
You got to stick it to the man.
Stick it to him. Yeah. But yeah, there is another hole on. Oh man, it goes pretty deep. It's about like, so when you look at television, right? It's your vision through televised information. You pick a channel, so it's channeling a television programming into your nugget, right? Which that's
okay. That's like really breaking it down. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Crazy. And it makes sense. I mean, every now and then my mind will like go off down those paths. Especially breaking words down. Like I'll be sitting there like, in a mind-numbing state of mind at work, and I'm, writing whatever it is I'm writing out, and then I'll look at a word and I'm like, well, let's break that word down. That is like this and this and this,
Right.
It means like root words, I guess, is what I'm looking at. Like I'll just start breaking things down. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So Late Night with the Devil dips into all these topics.
Yeah, it does. That's a great new horror flick. I'm very picky about
it yet. I wanted to see it, and
it's great. I love it.
It totally slipped. You know what? Another horror movie that just came out that I want to see is In a Violent Nature. Have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't. I'm intrigued.
It's crazy. It's kind of like, it reminds me kind of like Jason-esque, where he's just going through like on a rampage, but he doesn't talk.
Okay.
Like all of the talking is coming from victims and potential victims, is what I understood anyway from the trailer. You got to look that up.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
And Morgan wants to see the new Nosferatu.
Yeah, that one's supposed to be really good too.
What's his face? Oh, the Green Goblin. What's his face?
Oh, that was Shadow of the Vampire.
Okay.
That's not the new one. The new one is, I don't think it's called Nosferatu. I might be mistaken, but it's something very similar. But yeah, it's supposed to be like just a remake of the original Nosferatu. I guess it was German. The one with Olaf the Vampire. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I do want to see that. Well, I mean, the original Nosferatu was pretty creepy. Well, I wish we had the original because it's missing like 20-something minutes of the original movie. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's like they found it, but like I guess either mold or some kind of damage got to the film. So there's a bunch that's not in it.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
It wasn't stored properly.
Right.
Chris knows about all of that because he was a cameraman for so long. He was so like into the film industry. Like when he gets into something, he like studies it all the way down. So he was like, oh yeah, celluloid and blah, 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 and tell you all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah. They got that big, and it looks like in the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. No, it was the Ark, right? Where they had the big warehouse in the where they package all the stuff, and then they did it again.
Okay, so that's what I, in my mind, pictured the Vatican archives looking like. Maybe not quite that open, but there's some like, I would love to just get like a day's access into the Vatican like unrestricted. I'm so curious because I am convinced there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, that's that one and the Smithsonian. I'd love to get into it because I know they got giants down there.
They've lost so much stuff over, like, I don't know if they truly lost it because they just have so much, like they didn't catalog it properly, and it's like down in the maze, like, but they don't know where down in the maze,
Yeah, it's hanging out with the cask of Amontillado. It's like way down there. But yeah, so like not to get off track because I know we're doing that, but
I mean we're talking about whatever. So
right. But like the G.E. Kincaid, you ever heard about that? The expedition and what was it? The Grand Canyon. Back in, I think I want to say it was in the 20s or 30s. So this dude named G.E. Kincaid, he was snooping around, canoeing down the Grand Canyon, and saw like a cave, like way up on the cliff top.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, which everyone says long story short and ends up being a short story long, goes up in there and he goes adventuring and he finds all these Egyptian artifacts. And there's like Sphinx looking stuff.
I've heard that story, right? Mm-hmm. And there's like it looks almost like the entrance to some of the tombs. Like there's two statuesque things like carved into the side of the cliff. And that's the part of the Grand Canyon that supposedly nobody can go into. Right.
Right. That you're sealed off from. Yeah. But
I
instead
don't know
of
how
like
true that is though. I mean, I've heard that, and I just heard that like within the last 6 months, right? So I haven't had an opportunity to like dive into that. I wonder how true that is though. Like, are there restricted areas in the Grand Canyon?
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Woody, he's been up there and they're like, no, you're not allowed to drone, you're not allowed to film. He's like, dude, it's the Grand Canyon.
We can get on the river. You can't stop me. What do you got, like nets?
They'll fly, they'll fly helicopters over and shoot your drone down. Apparently, we'll get into it with him about that because I know he's had an experience with that. But the thing with the G Kincaid is it actually came out in the National Geographic back in the day, so it was like public record, I guess you could say. But so the Smithsonian ended up sending him a bunch of workers and expeditioners to go, pull all this stuff out and check it out. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as they did, they went up there and everything disappeared, and so did G. Kincaid.
Oh.
So, yeah. So it was like, but apparently, so yeah, he'd see like Isis and all the, the mm-hmm. Egyptian gods. But instead of like palm trees, they'd have cactus like carved next to them. So
it wouldn't surprise me if there were Egyptians like in the Americas at some point, because they're, goodness gracious, like I haven't fact checked it, but I remember like, again, like watching the History Channel. I hate to say stuff if I haven't like done more than just watch TV, I hate to like just regurgitate
right.
Yeah. But they were, it was like ancient aliens or something, of course. And they were talking about how like there were some pyramids down in South America that had some Egyptian like carvings on them.
Yeah. Yeah, like Teleguicue or whatever. Sorry if I butchered it. And also Machu Picchu. Mm-hmm. You can find like exact snakehead god-looking dudes, same as you do in Egypt, mm-hmm. right? And so, and then there was and this is documented in like regular history. Apparently, like in Egypt, one day they were called like the Sea People or something, and they came floating up the Nile, and they had like a navy, and they basically butchered, the Egyptians which were like the biggest castes at the time, and and stole a bunch of their stuff, but they were like the people that came from the water, like they didn't actually have like homeland, you know what I mean? So
it was like Water World. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, right.
An ancient recreation of Water World. It was the what's the continent that suck?
Atlantis.
They're Atlanteans.
Yeah. Atlanteans. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so yeah, and going back to what we talked about before, Anne Rice. That's mm-hmm. where the original Amal came from. So
yes, right. Then it would like the Queen of the Dam movie only like did like this much of the backstory of all of that. Yeah,
because he was a cloud spirit that put like microbites, and then you'd see the cloud fill up with blood, mm-hmm. and that was what was the two twins that ended up becoming the Mayfair witch chicks.
I can't remember. I know who you're talking about.
Maharet, and
but it was like she played the aunt in the movie, right? Aunt Maharet.
Yeah, in the movie. Yeah.
And she's the one that turned herself to stone in the movie.
Right, yeah. Which was not in the book.
No, it's not in the book at all like that. But again, like, have you seen the Mayfair Witches yet? The TV show?
No, I haven't. I've read all the books, but I haven't watched the
Yeah,
show.
you got to watch the TV show because I mean, since we're going to New Orleans,
Yeah.
it takes place in New Orleans. Like they
Yeah.
filmed around there. It's man, it's awesome. I love the Mayfair Witches.
So I'll have to do some filming locations and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, well, the Mayfair Witch House I went to when I was there last year because it's just, it's a residence. It's like some poor person's
Right.
house. Everybody's like, oh, but I don't know that, they were getting throngs of people, but I mean, it's clearly that's the Mayfair Witch House. And they're doing a season 2 that is coming out next year.
So yeah, not to get too far off on that, but because be like, what did this turn into? But no, so does the seasons go with the books? Because there's the 3 books, right? You got Mayfair Witches, you got Lasher, and then Taltos.
So kind of, yeah.
So Lasher.
It doesn't go into as much detail because this is about like it's present day, right? It's present day with God, I forgot her name. The present day witch, right? And
the
orphan, orphan. You know who I'm talking about.
I know.
So it's centered around her going back, not knowing she's a witch, right? She figures out like something weird's going on. Her mom was hiding something for her adoptive mother was hiding something from her. She goes back to New Orleans. And she connects with the Mayfairs. But Lasher is a constant throughout this. And it has flashbacks to the early Mayfair witches, but they're in Ireland. So it's only going as far back as Ireland.
So that touches Taltos.
Yeah. I mean, Taltos. It kind of meshes a little bit of, from what I gather, because I haven't read all the Mayfair witch books. So it just kind of like pulls a little bit in. But I mean, just like a movie, it's not like, going to follow it 100%. Which is really too bad because I feel like when you have a TV series, you have the opportunity to do that.
Right.
Exactly. Like, and this wasn't a series, but it was made for TV, right? The Shining. You have Kubrick Shining, and then you have the made for TV Shining. And I love the made for TV Shining. I cannot stand Kubrick Shining.
Dude, you literally stole what I was going to say right out of my mouth. Because the TV series Shining was on point with the book because they had so much more time to actually like fit it in there. And
and the description of the hotel is spot on. And then the TV series has the whole hedge animals, right? That's a big part of the book.
Yeah, exactly. The hedge animals.
That Kubrick completely like just whatever. And then, but then also like when Jack goes on the rampage in Kubrick's, he has the axe, right? So Mr. Halloran, he doesn't die in the book. He dies in Kubrick's with an axe, but it follows the book in the TV series where it's not an axe, it's a croquet mallet, right? And Jack pummels him with it, but he survives.
He survives. Yeah, and I think that's why they brought him back in Dr. Sleep, in the movie.
Oh man, Dr. Sleep was rough.
Yeah, it was. But I was like, wait a minute. I was like, are you bringing him back because he really didn't die and they still have the shine?
He's there because it's a spirit.
Right, in the movie.
Yeah,
but I haven't read the book.
Oh, really? Yeah, when that came, I have a hard first edition of that. Like a hard copy, like a hardcover first edition. I have a second edition of Catcher in the Rye.
Really?
That's something people don't know. Monica collects books.
I do too. I do.
You know which book I would love to have is like Malleus Maleficarum. I would love to have The Hammer of the Witches. I'd love to have a copy of that.
Now, I had a badass book collection, and then I told you about this, I think, offline. And I had, like you had about a month ago, I had the roof leak, but mine was from rain. And so, yeah, so it ended up, I had one of those big projection TVs, like the old school with the big back behind it. You know what I mean? Like, it was like that wide behind the TV. And I guess it was the leakage was coming in and going down the slant of my roof and dripping on behind the TV. So, like, I was like, I smell mold, like, you know, like,
oh no, that's
terrible. Like like I smell bayou, you know?
Right.
And I went back behind my TV, and sure enough, like my whole book collection, a bunch of stuff that I had from music, like souvenirs and magazines.
Oh man, that sucks.
Dude,
that sucks.
I pulled the TV back, and a frog looked up at me. Yeah, I was like, oh no, and everything was black, molded, slimy.
Oh.
I was like, no.
So okay, when I worked at Neiman Marcus, my office was like in the basement, essentially. It was like on the bottom floor, like off in a corner. And a tropical storm came through and it damaged like the executive offices, which were like on the other side of the freaking building from me. I was like in the opposite corner. But for whatever reason, my office got a crap ton of water. And over the weekend, I come in and there's like a mushroom growing out of my wall. Yeah. I'm like, somebody want to clean it? Like, I'm not working in the toxic mold environment.
You should have ate it. You just saw some fairies. And shit.
Right? I could have had a spiritual experience there. Maybe like, you should have looked at that frog and seen it. Your eyes start doing that.
I want to lick that frog. I want to lick that frog.
But oh my gosh, yes. So books. Yes, I love rare books. Love rare books. I have, not that it's rare, but I have the Key of Solomon and the Lesser Key of Solomon.
And the Lesser Keys.
I have both of them, and they're not very thick. They're not.
Nah.
Large at all.
They're not even freaking novels. Yeah.
You know what's crazy is like the symbol, not that you want, like, if you're smart, not that you want to know the symbols, but they're so blurred, and I'm sure it's on purpose. Like there's no like crispness to it at all. Like you can't make out because in symbology, right? Like every little line counts for something, every little dot counts for something, and it's hard to like really see anything.
Yeah. No, I'd love to get because I did a whole thing on, what was it, the Codex Gintius or whatever, and there's the other one that doesn't even have, has all the plants and flowers. It's a Codex. Forgot the freaking name of it, but it has the weird plants and flowers that don't exist anymore.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but there's no language in it. And if there is language, it's just symbolism, hieroglyphs, basically, But I dig those grand grimoires. I got hooked into the grimoires, oddly, by the movie Warlock Part 3.
Oh, really? The third part? I started looking at grimoires from the first part. Have you read the book that Warlock is based off of?
No, I have not.
You got to read that book because it goes into it like every book. It goes into a ton more detail. And if I've read the book and seen the movie, you should know by now. I'm going to ask, did you read the book? Did you read the book?
Yeah. No, well, when I was a kid, so I was like, oh, that's cool. Part 1, cool. And then, unfortunately, me being a stupid kid, by part 3, I was like, this is the greatest one of them all. And then I relook at it, I rewatch it, I'm like, that was the most horrible one of them all.
It was the stupidest of all of them.
Yeah,
I liked Julian Sands, so I had a serious crush on Julian Sands. And it's so sad how he died.
Dude, I don't know that. What's the story behind that one?
Oh, it was last winter, this past winter, last winter.
Okay.
He went because he was an avid hiker, right?
Okay.
He went up into the St. Gabriel's, I think, somewhere out there. Anyway, he went out in a friggin' blizzard. He's just like, well, I'm going to go take a hike. And then like this blizzard hit and he just freaking vanished. And then they found his remains. Like, I mean, they assumed he was gone, you know, because he never came off the mountain.
Right.
And yeah, somebody found his remains like that spring, that summer.
That's
It's so sad. But you know what's crazy to me is, I mean, granted, he wasn't like a current A-list actor, but Julian Sands has been in like he's a pretty well-known actor. Yeah. It was nowhere in the media, like nowhere. Like I think I saw some off like topic, like some rando just like, oh, you know, if you live in LA, maybe you've heard, maybe you haven't heard, like Julian Sands is missing. And I'm like, what? So I'm like looking it up. It wasn't like any kind of major news, right? At all. Some crusty person that nobody's heard of for like 100 years gets like blown up all over social media. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's kind of rude. Julian he deserved more than that.
No, those three. Well, I mean, I know he was in a bunch of others in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, he was in Arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia, right?
Yeah, he was in a ton of things. He was in I Love Vibes with Cyndi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum, where they're psychics.
What? There's a. Oh wait, okay. I remember this. I was like, wait a minute. Don't you tell me there's a Cyndi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum movie I've never heard of?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, Stretch. Yeah. She calls him Stretch. Yeah. I mean, he was in a ton of things, and I did like. So I mean, Warlock wasn't terrible for me, and you know what's interesting is it did have some old like German like magic in it, right? A lot of things like that they really did like to prevent hexing because they were hexes and curses, right? And that you could, you know, cripple a witch by hammering nails into their footprints, and you turn the iron keys over.
The iron key, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
It goes back to that iron.
Yeah,
you know, and they put hex symbols on the barns to like keep them safe. Mm-hmm. And I heard, now I haven't seen it myself, but I heard that some of the old Dutch farms still put the hex symbols on the barns.
Right. And that you know, that's one of the big misconceptions also is between the pentagram and I forgot the other name of it, but the pentagram is just a straight star.
And right? The pentacle.
The pentacle, and you turn it upside down with the ring. You know, and then you're talking kind of like the cross and the upside down cross. It's like the 180 version of it. But you know, I never understood that one either. Especially with the upside down cross, is because that's the St. Peter's cross. You know, that's because whenever St. Peter was crucified, he told him, I don't deserve to die the same way as my Lord did, so they crucified him upside down. But then now Satanists go, nah, that's ours, bro. You're like,
I'm claiming that one.
I'm pretty sure that's not. You know. So then I get into like when they do the investigations, like especially like the Warrens, you know, when they do their stuff, and they're like, and the cross is turned upside down. You know, I'm like, but did it though? But did you die? You know, like,
but did you die?
Yeah. Come on. Could that just, you know?
Hold on, I'm just typing here.
No, you're good. I can hear you pounding away.
Sorry.
No, you got the most aggressive type.
Well, I think that it's my nails hitting the keys.
No, it's your anger, Monica. You're like, dude.
Like
keyboard.
Stupid thing.
I'm gonna max that keyboard out.
So, okay. For when you were talking, I'm sorry, I got like distracted.
No, you're good.
I was thinking now, like, okay, so the movie Demon Knight. You remember that?
Yeah.
Love Demon Knight.
Love Demon Knight.
I can quote the crap out of Demon Knight. Like 30 years later.
Yeah, I don't want to cuss now.
Hold down, hold dunk. Well, then there. All you had to do is give me the GD key.
Damn
Get on with our lives. Yeah. This property is hereby condemned. Anyway, it made me think, like, the flashback, right, to the original Demon Knights, that it came from the silver, right? Mm-hmm. So they were paid like 30 pieces of silver. That reminds me that there's another show, and it's in Spanish, but it's called, I think, 30 coins, and it goes back to that, like the 30 pieces of silver.
Okay.
And I mean, just stemming from Demon Knight, like, a lot of people will say, okay, well, the silver, like, is bad for evil entities because it's tied to those 30 pieces of silver, right? Mm-hmm. And I told you, I just got, like, you were talking, and my mind went whoo off in that direction. Yeah. Like, shiny. It's shiny. So, I mean, what do you think about that? What do you, like, everybody talking about? What do you think about that? Like, the silver being linked back to that, and the reason that, like, you know, negative things don't like silver.
Right. And they used to say, I remember the reason why vampires couldn't be seen in the mirror is because they coated the back of the mirror with silver.
Yeah.
And it was a precious,
like it's a doorway.
Yeah, it was a pure metal, so that it wouldn't allow the reflection of the vampire. Yeah. But if you really go into that, they'd probably have been using mercury, you know,
probably
a lot cheaper. You know, I mean, maybe in, like, you know, a lord or a lady's house, they might have a
well, I mean, even before there was glass, they took silver and just highly polished it, and that's what they used as, you know,
right, as a reflection. Yeah. Like when you go to juvie the first time and they just have that silver, it's like a little aluminum plate. You're like, look like the freaking Elephant Man in it. But yeah, so, well, see, one of my freaking weird things, and I'm not trying to get biblical about it, but there's, when it comes to Judas and the 30 pieces of silver thing, there's like, and if I'm misquoting, you know, correct me, but there's two different versions to that whole story. Mm-hmm. Like, one is that he hung himself and then the 30 pieces of silver fell to the ground. Right. And then the other is that he threw it down and he was disemboweled, right? So his bowels hit, you know, cut his stomach open and everything hit the. So I got to look more into that, because if you look at one of the aspects, then it was this trade-off. If you look at the other, he gave it back and was like, you know, nah, I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, so there's that. And then there's also, like, silver is antimicrobial. Like, pure silver is antimicrobial.
Yeah.
So what if these things like the werewolf curse and the vampire, I mean, not so much necessarily vampires, but the werewolf specifically, you hear that association. That's some sort of virus. And it's the virus reacting to the antimicrobial properties of the silver.
Dude, that's a dope ass idea. I never freaking like it's the antibiotic.
Yeah. So, I mean, you get right. And you could see where it would be a virus, right? A bite or a scratch infects you. So you could see where it would be something like that. That's
actually man, you just JFK'd me right out of the freaking water. No, but that's literally like why I wear, like, all this is all pure silver, because it's silver bullet. You know,
I have silver bullets.
Yeah, I was like, a necklace. It's, you know, I can melt it down in case of freaking werewolf attack.
Yeah, we're good. I always thought about that because I used to wear it, like, when I was like in my 20s and 30s. I wore a ton of silver. And I always thought, well, if I ever come across, and I don't know why this would like flip through my mind, if I come across a werewolf, like if it's attacking me, it's going to take, like I would stand a chance. I'm going to die anyway. Getting a mouthful of silver on the way down.
Right. Stab me in the eye.
Because I remember I had this one necklace that was like the cuff necklaces, right? It was like a James Avery that came down. And I remember thinking, man, if I come across like a werewolf, that's Monica's weird thinking, like, because I'm driving home at night. Like, and there was this one area that I would drive through, and my brother and I called it Werewolf Flats because it looked like it was farmland, but it looked like the perfect setting, like for you to see a werewolf just like run across the field. And it was to the east of the highway, so sometimes like the moon would be like, right there, and I would always be like, oh, that creepy piece of farmland, like, 30 miles south of town. He's like, oh yeah. And I was like, it looks like a werewolf, like Werewolf Flats. But anyway, that kind of stuff would come running through my head. And I'm like, oh, if I ever went into a werewolf, I can just like take my necklace off and like, it's going to help me. Do you mind standing still while I poke you with a necklace?
Just hold on.
Hold on.
Okay. Let me undo. Oh, my hair is in the way. Son of a.
So yeah, that's the kind of weird crap that runs through Monica's head occasionally.
Right.
I don't have anything at all.
But then that brings us back to like, like we were saying earlier, like with the crystals and stuff, like the good crystals versus bad crystals. Because now we're talking minerals, right? So, minerals and rocks and whatnot. And so, I think that, like what we were saying, there's an equal and opposite positive energy between, all these pieces that you actually could potentially use spiritually.
Well, I can see the silver, right? I can see like ancient peoples finding silver, right? Noticing that, it helps like things don't get infected if you touch it, or, or it does have a taste to it. So, but my thing is like, I can get where they could kind of associate that with kind of like maybe
good or bad
properties kind of thing. Right. But the crystals would be like, somebody had to show you, like, because it's all vibrational. Like crystals react to frequencies.
Yeah, they're oscillators.
Yeah. So who figured that out? Like who was Jack? Like just like who figured out that, I mean, I guess it's not weird if you're watching a calf, like with a mom cow, but who's like, you know what? I want someone what that calf is having, and then we're drinking milk.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I used to say that back in the Gap too. I'm like, humans are the only people that drink milk, and after they're, pretty much born,
right?
Like we're still like pouring it on our Cheerios when every calf or kitten or dog or whatever is like, nah, dude, I'm not 2 anymore. I'm not drinking milk, dude. Like, but no, yeah, like if you go, so I went through electronic and tech school and college and all that, and that's exactly what, like, whenever people talk about back in the 80s when quartz watches were, that's what it was, because quartz oscillates. So you apply an electrical field to it, it'll vibrate at an exact time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you get 60 vibrations per second, and then 60 seconds per minute, and so on and so forth.
Well, okay, so in complications, right, which are watches, the higher the jewel count in their rubies, typically, that they use, the higher the jewel count, the more accurate the timepiece.
Right.
Yeah. So you'll see watches, especially very expensive watches, that are like, 120 joules or 60
Yeah,
joules.
yeah, like Rolex.
They're literally, that's the joule count inside that complication.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same with radio receivers and all that, because I built a freaking radio from scratch when I was going through college. I was just like out of the middle of nowhere. I was like, yeah, I'm going to build a radio. But you literally have to get these quartz oscillation boxes, and you solder them into the board, and then you literally have to tune them. Mm-hmm. So you tune it from the lowest AM to the highest FM.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and that's how whenever you roll your dial, you know, you get and 247 coming out of Oklahoma. You know, you get stuff from further away, because if say down in lower Texas, if I got between 93.7 and 94.8, I didn't get anything. If I could boost my antenna, you know, my receiver signal out, then, and the signal is strong enough to get put out from, say, Oklahoma, then I get it. And then that's where you get like ham radios.
Okay.
Stuff that can, you know, literally go across the world. Yeah. Which solidifies cool. Yeah, solidifies one of my flat earth theories, but you know, whatever.
There's no relays, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it bounces off the dome.
It's flat Earth. How come I can't see Paris?
Yeah, exactly. I can. All you got to do is have a strong enough telescope. We'll see it.
Okay.
See that, but that's what people don't get on that. Is sorry, I'm not going off on. I will not go off on flat Earth. I do not care.
What's underneath?
It's because of topical. It's just because we're flat Earth doesn't mean that we don't have topographical. So yeah, you have hills and mountains, and you have stuff blocking your view. So
if you're on the top of the tallest mountain in the world, right? So like Everest or Kilimanjaro, let's say, like the really tall ones, I should be able to see a lot of crap.
Yeah, right? there's actually photos people have taken from the top of Everest, and you can see like the top of Sierra Nevada. You can see the top of like all the major mountain ranges in North America, and you can see them clear as day, and you can see what's underneath them.
I don't know about that. I need to find those photos. Okay, so so are all the other planets flat?
They're not planets.
What are they?
This goes. All right. This is weird. So, the way I subscribe, because a lot of those cats, they speak some dumb shit, and I don't sub to it.
Sure.
It comes back to the Book of Enoch and the Watchers. Mm-hmm. So you actually have the Watchers. So if you ever really look into, and also you have the 7 layers of heaven.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
So you got the 7 reflections. Mm-hmm. So whenever you zoom in on your own telescope, you'll see these watery looking, I don't know, they look like freaking like little isotopes or whatever. And then you won't see like an actual planet like NASA shows us, right? So NASA, it's very weird that the fact that NASA, right, is in the Hebrew language is Nasa, which means to deceive. It's like the same name literally lines up. Okay. So yeah, I just don't. Let me put it this way: if I can sniff one lie out of a train of quote unquote truth, then I instantly suspect the entire train. You know, and through that agency, I've seen plenty to make me question the entire thing. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Okay. So what about the telescope that I have seen a planet through?
Yeah. I mean, but it's not. So okay, so there's the fixed one. Okay, so there's the fixed, and which is quote unquote our planetary system, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the outers, right, which are the ones that are unmoving, and they're fixed no matter what. North Star, you'll always see the North Star in the exact same spot, right? Now, and this is just a quickie. I'm giving you a quickie. So like if the Earth is a ball and it's spinning, and then it's spinning around the sun, right? So the North Star, if I'm on this side, shouldn't be the same position as when I'm on this side. I should see a whole new set of these stars like way over here. And then when
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here, I should see a whole new set of stars over here and over here and over here. So why is that in the exact same position when I'm doing not just this, I'm not just spinning, but I'm also tilting and
Mm-hmm.
rotating around and coming
You're
back
talking like
around.
this.
Yeah, and then everything is heliocentric, right? And if you look at Helios, which you go back into Greek and gods, right? So Helios, it's a position to where the way I tell my son, my youngest son, 9 years old, it's a way for them to program you into thinking that you are an evolved monkey spinning on a freaking ball in the middle of a vast galaxy that has other galaxies. And
Mhm.
anything you do in this life doesn't mean anything compared to the creation of this entire universe. So it makes you feel null and void. And so get your ass up, get to work, go to school, get to work, make us money, and when you die, you'll receive a pension.
When you retire.
Right, exactly. And that's my overall view of it. But yeah, we can. I know I hate doing the flat Earth thing because I've been in it so long that I no
Mm-hmm.
longer. It's kind of like the Bigfoot or the Dogman thing, right? I no
Mm-hmm.
longer question it myself. I believe it's real, And if people are going to go, well, what about this and what about that? I'm like, dude, do your research. Why is it that on every continent, on every ancient religion, on did they consider it the same way? I watched an interview with this old lady. I was going to say chick, but she was born in 1918, and they did an interview with her, and she was like, "Yeah, no. When I was in elementary, they taught everybody the Earth was flat." You know, and if you look at any ancient religions, you have a firmament, you have a flat Earth, you have Sheol, which is under Earth, the underground,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have the literal ice walls that keep the water in. I forget what map it was. It's from like 1531 or whatever that has Antarctica as an outside barrier, and it has the entire landmass without having frozen freaking ice over it. So it's like, well, how'd you chart that freaking, how'd you chart that continent that surrounds the entire world? You know, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them that I'm like,
So
wait a
I'm just
minute.
thinking of like a flat map, right? There has to be an
Mhm.
edge somewhere. So
Yeah.
how would I travel from Europe to the East Coast and from the West Coast over to, like, let's say,
So okay, yeah. So like you got to think of like the UN map. right? So the symbol for the UN is the flat Earth map. So, and it makes a lot of sense if you're going from like Johannesburg, South America, and you're going to Australia, which is a straight shot right over.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they always go up to like Dubai and then come back down? You're making a big triangle. If you open it up on the flat map, it's a straight shot and you shoot straight under Dubai. So you go through Dubai and then right to to Australia. And there's a bunch of those. Look up flight patterns, flat Earth flight patterns, and yeah, you'll be like, what? And then there's this dude, and so Ron's saying, do your own research and reach a conclusion. That's how we can free ourselves from the global cult. That's absolutely correct. But what we're losing actual paperback literature that has it. And now we rely on Google or, so it's going to be fed to us. So in 10, 15 years, if my kid looks up Tesla, he's not going to find Nikolai Tesla. He's going to find freaking Cybertrucks,
right?
Because they can bury it under page 6, and you're never going to see it. But yeah, so if you think about a globe and you think about a plane flying, it's literally going to have to dip down each, I forgot the actual, but it's like 3 foot for every mile that they'd have to like lower it, because you're not going up and still going up. You got to go around. Same thing with North and South poles. If you're in the South Pole and you use the compass to go north, it's not going to go this way. It's going to go, I want to go down under my compass. You know what I mean? Like that needle is not going to go this way or that way. It's going to go up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Sorry, I didn't want. Sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to drag it. That's just Breezy's nut bar BS.
That's Breezy's flat Earth theory, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody. I got to stop my camera for a minute because I have to stand up for a second. So yeah, I mean, everybody's got to think whatever they want.
And just like anything, just like the way I spin it is just like we were talking about earlier, vampires and Bigfoot or Fae or any of it. It's like these are things that have been spoken about before in the past and in the present and probably in the future that give you a different sway on what you consider reality. And so you can choose to have enough evidence to fall for it and be indoctrinated into it, or you can have enough evidence that sways you away from it, makes you go, nah, that's all BS.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's entitled to like do your own research and draw your own conclusion on everything, really. I mean, if you're a thinking person, that's what you should be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. If my wife gets lost on the way home from work from Chili's to my house, which is 15 minutes, and it took her an hour and a half, I'm going to draw a conclusion.
Yeah.
That's probably the reason I didn't get none that night.
Or it's chili. Chili sucks.
You know what I'm saying? Like all bullshit, BS aside, it really is all about that. And I think that what people like us and people in our audience, or your audience, on this point, I think that that's what we're constantly looking for, and we're constantly questioning the narrative, because the narrative is lied to us so much. There's no such thing as this. There's no such thing as that. Yet we're hearing telltales of it from all around the world. No, there's no boogeyman under your bed. Well, then why do they call it a kukui, 800 miles south of that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, no, there's something to it. Yeah.
Like I told you, all folklore and legends have got like a grain of truth to them. If they're not all just flat out completely true, they've got like, they've got a nucleus of truth.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a closed mind is one of the most horrible things that you can ever be.
Oh my gosh, right?
Locked up with. Yeah.
I mean, like, you might not subscribe to like whatever the person is saying, and you might be like, okay, but just listen. Just listen.
Yeah.
Don't listen with a closed mind. Just listen. Yeah. And draw your own conclusion by all means. By all means.
Absolutely. So,
let's see.
And also, it's I think that prey tells into like what we talk about a lot is, horror movies. Like if you take Nightmare on Elm Street, for instance, that was actually because of, there was a instance where I think they were either rescued or they were from the Japanese POW camps that were in America during World War II, and they believed in a sleep demon, and a bunch of them were literally dying in their sleep, and for, they'd be young, healthy, whole 9 yards. And then I believe Wes Craven read an article about it, and then that's where Freddy came from.
So speaking along what you just said, watch the second season of The Terror. So the first season follows the book, The Terror. The second season is about the Japanese internment camps during World War II. And it follows an entity. Now it's specifically following this particular family. It's attached to them specifically, but that doesn't mean it doesn't come through and start knocking out other people.
Right.
It's interesting. So I mean, along the lines of what you just said, that would be interesting for
I think
who's interested in that kind of thing to watch.
Yeah, I think that's like right along the same line. But then I could go on for days, but and I know we're already almost 2 hours into the show, so I don't want to keep revving up the engine when time's running down. But
Monica's got to go to work tomorrow.
Right. Me too. Ditto.
I got to get up at 6:30 in the morning.
I got to go to work and have freaking birds crap all over my freaking convertible that leaks, so I can't wash it.
That does suck.
Oh yeah, I got that convertible that's off of Return of the Living Dead.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, it's not literally this. It's not the same, but it's the one where you shut the convertible and it's like, why is it still leaking in here? The rain, it burned.
I had a friend who. Okay, so I had a friend, and she was done dirty by a former friend who owned a convertible. And I told her to take a hat pin to the convertible.
You evil. Yeah.
Follow me for more tips. Revenge done right. Come see me. So, and that's a true story. And then she worked for this guy who was, knowing her, actually thinking back, pretty sure she was the nutball one, but she was like, this guy's terrible. They forget what they did. They fired her out of the blue, but then they were like wanting their phone back, like their cell phone back and all this other stuff. And I was like, well, that's reasonable. But like this employer supposedly did her dirty also. And I was like, okay, well, mail them it back, but put a shit ton of dead cockroaches in the box with it. Like, send it back along with some cockroaches. Here's your POS.
I love your style. I love that. That's how we get along so well.
I mean, what do you want? I sent it back. So I wanted to point this out because my friend is an author, and he is a pretty awesome author. And it doesn't hurt that like I'm a character in at least one of his books. No promotion. People that have been around a minute know him. And I was going through my library the other day, and I found his latest book, or at least the latest one that I'm aware of. And anybody who's interested in a really unique werewolf story, you need to find Lee Murphy's The Hen House. It's really good. It is really good. Like, his books just keep getting better, but it's awesome. So I really encourage, if you are looking for a good read, and it's a unique story. It's not is it
fiction or based on?
Oh, it's totally fiction.
Okay.
No, it's totally fiction. It's about it takes place mostly in a men's prison. And I want to say it's back in the day. It's not like current. So it's like 60s, I think, 50s, maybe 50s.
So think almost Shawshank with a werewolf.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. But it's really interesting, and I really encourage you guys. Like Lee Murphy, go get his book. His books, they're all good. Yeah, they're all cryptid based. They're all except for one that was it was Igor. His book Igor. It tells like the story of like Frankenstein's assistant from Igor, the point of view. Yeah.
Not Igor.
Igor. It's Frankenstein. You're kidding me.
Walk like this. No, like this.
Like this. No, like this. With the cane.
Yeah. That reminds me too, man. We got it's coming up quick. Let me look at the
It is. It's next weekend.
Is it next weekend?
It's next weekend.
Yeah. So we're gonna be doing over on my channel, because that's the one that no one cares if it gets shut down. We're gonna do the 80s horror whole thing Labor Day weekend. It's gonna be a day drinking, or maybe night drinking. We'll find out.
We'll see.
But I think it's gonna be fun. Well, I know it's gonna be fun. I just don't know how much of it I'm gonna remember.
I don't think I can drink like that. It's just like I'm too old. I'm too old and out of practice. Like, I'll fall asleep.
Right. No, there's so I would recommend for everybody in the chat, as well as Monica, of course. So there's a 3-part series called In Search of Darkness. Mm-hmm. And especially 1 and 2. 3's all right. But 1 and 2, you might have to rent it on like Prime or something like that. But they go through every freaking old school. You're like, oh, that one. I remember Beast Within, and they literally get into it, and they'll bring like the actors and actresses on and show you like little tidbits of it and little pieces. So if y'all got about a week to I guess homework up on it, you get those In Search of Darkness Part 1 and at least 2, and you'll come in here and you'll be like, I know them all.
Okay, I want to say I've seen that.
You probably have.
I want to say I have, but I'm going to have to go refresh my memory now.
There's those, and there's another one. It's you can find this one on YouTube, and it's the 50 greatest horror movies you've never seen. And
Okay.
that one will actually, I've literally sat there with a page and pen and written them all down, and then did my homework and watched them all. And they're great movies, and most of them are 80s style.
Of course, because that's when all the really good ones were made, because they still had practical effects.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I watched remember that is from like the 60s or 50s, the Shaggy Dog, where it was like the turn, I think the second one was the Shaggy DA, but it was where like came around the time when
I know what you're talking about.
Flubber,
Yeah,
Flubber and all the original.
But the original one is like,
yeah.
It's what's his name? The he's like the Miracle Network thing. I forget his name. Like the.
But yeah, I was watching that, and this chick, she just did a short on it, and she was like, "I love practical effects," and like in that one, like the dog runs up and like jumps on the actor like a regular dog, and you see like this socked hand full of fur and like punches him out. He's like, ah! I was like, yeah. Great.
But it's still, I mean, that's what makes the movie so awesome. Like, I just really wish Hollywood would stop using so much
CGI.
CGI. That drives me up the wall. It does. And even though they're cheesy, I still love a practical effects movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I told you that one werewolf one that I saw where it's got like three they're clearly
from different movies.
werewolf movies. There's like Bad Moon in there. There's like a Howling in there, and then there's like Ginger Snaps in there, right? Like three completely different werewolves. And and it's they use the same stretch of road, and these girls are supposedly like running. We gotta run like 3 miles to the nearest farmhouse. It's like the same stinking stretch of road.
Yeah. No, when you come down to the cult classics, I'm going to take you to the bridge from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Mm-hmm. And this bridge is not even a half of a football field. But when you watch it in the movie, it's like 5 miles long. They're like driving down, having the chainsaw fight.
Yeah.
But you could literally walk from one end to the other in not even 5 minutes.
Oh, sure.
It's great.
It's the magic of movies. It's the magic. It's magical.
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands. No. In my opinion, is Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi is awesome. Karloff is the Universal Monsters, all that. I literally have a canvas of Bela Lugosi in my hallway. Total morphine addict. That
was surprising to find out.
Yeah. And then he was actually buried in his original Dracula costume.
He couldn't let go of that fame.
Yeah. No.
And it killed him, like aging killed him. But I can dig that. You get older and things start shifting and people don't look at it the same way.
Gravity starts taking over and you're not as cool anymore.
Yeah, I know. It sucks. Like suddenly you're just old. You're like,
old.
I don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're old. And you're like, holy crap, I am old.
Yeah.
And nothing makes you feel old like your kids. Like my daughter is currently, my oldest daughter is currently like the age my mind thinks I am.
Right. Mine is the way my youngest, when he talks, I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, see, like you ever run sometimes and you like feel the pain in your side? And I'm like, dude,
bitch. Yeah.
yeah, just like, dude, and education as well, like, because well, you weren't born in Texas, right?
I was born in California.
You were a Cali kid, right?
I'm a California girl.
Yeah,
Born and raised.
but yeah, like when you're born in or went to the educational system in Texas, the first thing you learned in like first and second grade was the Texas founding fathers. Like you learned about, Houston and Travis, that was it. It was Texas history. And then year after that, you learned United States history.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I was like, dude, like the Alamo. He's like, what's the Alamo? And I'm like, oh, clean this up.
That's off the old bitch slapper.
But anyway, we've gone on 2 hours, and I know you have work, and so I don't want to keep revving.
It's officially Friday, though. That's nice.
Oh shit! Yeah, it is Friday. I mean, shit,
My Friday. Not your Friday. My Friday.
No, I'm training tomorrow. So
see, we talked about that last night, because I did a night owl with Tex, and we were talking about the cartoons from back in the day. Mm-hmm. And I was saying, that I was a Tiny Toons girl in high school. And we were doing Plucky Duck.
Plucky Duck.
Plucky Duck. Push the buttons. I push the buttons. I push the buttons.
What was the one? It came out around Tiny Toons. Well, I mean, maybe a little bit later.
There was Animaniacs and Tiny Toons came out around the same time.
Well, there was the other one, that Historia or Histania, where it was like all the history that was mixed up, but it was done with the Animaniac style. Yeah. So there's Father Time. There's
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was. I won't present it on here, but yeah, I think it was called Historia or Histania. But
I was going somewhere with that, but I'm tired and my mind wandered off one more time. I promise I had a point for bringing all that up. And my mind went for a little trip. Went for a little side quest there.
Reason why we went to Looney Tunes, and I was like, huh?
Yeah, Tiny Toons. We're tiny, we're toony, we're all a little loony.
Loony, yeah.
Do you know Steve Stockton? Any interest in having him on your show? He is a friend. Steve Stockton does not ring a bell, Scott, but if I'll look him up. I mean, I'll research him, and that would be cool if he's into this kind of stuff.
I mean, if she's going to have me on the show, then she'll, have anybody.
Clearly, I'm not choosy. The Laugh Olympics.
Yeah.
You're a real laugh riot. You see the watch?
Yeah.
I'm glad everybody it's a real laugh riot. It's the most unfunny Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Author has 3 channels on YouTube. Oh, I will totally look him up, Scott, and I will reach out to you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to sign off. We're going to stop. I'm going to stop blurting random things out of my face hole. Because it's time to go to sleep for Monica. And Joe's, this is his AM.
Yeah, no, I gotta train tomorrow. So Jen's probably like, I made dinner, you ain't even eating it.
You better get in there and eat, especially if
you're
yelling at everybody through the walls. So you better get your behindy in there and eat whatever the heck it is she cooked.
Or microwave.
Microwave it. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
It's food. Eat it. All right. So, everybody, we're going to sign off. And I want to remind you that Joe has a channel that is pretty cool that I am on with him Friday nights. It's the Breezy Speakeasy. over here on YouTube. Do you have a Facebook page?
I do. It's just straight up Joe Breezy. But after I was like the only Joe Breezy in about 2003, and now there's a ton of them. So you're just gonna have to find my face. I got glasses on. It's black and white picture. But yeah, you should be able to find me.
Yeah. So he has his personal Facebook page open. I have the Our Paranormal World Facebook page. Y'all can message me over there and like the page. I've also got Instagram. I've got a TikTok. Clearly, I have a YouTube. So wherever you want to find me, come on by and say hi. And if you have a story that you want to share with me that you'd like us to discuss, or you just want to say hi, or you just have an opinion or want to ask me my opinion on something, my email address is opw.monica@gmail.com. Reach out and say hi. Reach out. Tell me a story. I won't share it unless you give me the okay on that. But I love hearing people's individual encounters and stories. Because if you've heard mine, we have got a ton to talk about because I've had weird things happen my whole life. Joe's had some weird stuff happen. Give me a shout out. Follow Mr. Breezy over on the Facebook and on the YouTubes. And check us out tomorrow night. What time are we going on? Like 9?
Probably about 9:30 if everything works out right. Tomorrow I think we're gonna be doing Giants of Malta, and because I want to. Usually we just kind of BS about it. My show is very loose, and so sometimes we'll just hang out and just BS the whole time. But I'm thinking about bringing that one on. That's one of my favorites, and maybe even touching into a little bit of Gremlins, because that'll feed into Monica's Fae and fairy stuff. So they kind of tie side and side. So.
And then next week, I think maybe we are going to discuss over here on my channel. I think we're going to discuss the fairies, the fae that I have discussed in my shorts along the way.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I have to record another one. I forgot to do it last night. I fell asleep.
Yeah.
So there's going to be.
And don't miss out because we're like we said, we're doing the Labor Day hangout in 80s horror movies things.
Yes. So that'll be Labor Day Monday, right? Monday.
And we'll try to get as much other content people in here. Maybe we can get like BMR or maybe Tex or any of that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know that Mickey G really, really liked doing it over on Texas Channel.
She's always down.
My only suggestion is don't let 10 people come in trying to.
No. We'll keep it like
chaos.
Yeah, we'll keep it like 4 to 5 max. And also, if we do it just right, because that's a long subject. So if we do like a multi-hour show where it's like 2 to 3 hours, we'll bring them in regiments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll
get a shift.
Yeah, exactly.
Your time slot is
9:30-ish to.
Well, I'm saying like if we do it in segments, like people get a time slot.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah, if we did it like that, then let's just say, I'm just going off my nugget. Don't quote me. Let's say we did 2.5 hours, so that would give 30 minute, 30 minute, 30 minute.
Yeah, 30-minute increments are good.
Yeah, 30-minute increments. Yeah.
You can even shuffle my butt out of there in 30 minutes if you want.
No, you staying.
You get a better co-host.
You're gonna be like the final girl at the end where he's like, just leave me. I'm like, no, you're going with us.
Get up. I am not the girl that trips and falls. I high step it. You ever watch me run? I'm high stepping it. I ain't tripping over your corpse.
But if you fall, I'll pick you up and drag you. I'm like, no, this is gonna end with you, not me.
I'm going to sacrifice myself. Okay. So everybody, check us out tomorrow night. Check us out next week. Go check out Joe. Check out our social media accounts. And y'all, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening live. Thanks for showing up in the chat. We love talking to you. We love interacting with y'all. And we will see you